I found something pretty interesting a few days ago. Someone in my chat linked it to me. And one of the most common questions that I'm asked as a streamer is, what class should I play? If you're wondering, as far as the PvE side goes, what people think about certain classes, this right here is a fantastic post by this guy named JK Mandev, who got this information from this YouTube channel, which I'm going to pull up right now. It's a Korean, it's this person right here. Big shout out to this person. I don't know this person, but she seems to be one of the main content creators for Lost Ark. She has 156k subscribers. I'm going to link her channel. Good morning. I'm going to link her channel in the description below. But if you look at her content, you know, a lot of views. I mean, she's got some views. She's got some videos that have literally over millions of views, right? So, what she did was, if we go back to the Reddit post, she took a vote, from her viewers, and it was not a small sample size. We're talking a total of 17,693 people that partook in these, in answering these questions. And submitting their opinions for these classes in Lost Ark. So I thought these were very interesting. I thought this was a very interesting list, especially because I've been playing this game for a good bit now, and even my mods give me so much shit, but like even I have not been able to select the class that I want to play. It's a fucking difficult decision. This is why I'm always encouraging people to go play on the Russian servers or the Korean servers if you can, and just play fucking every class, because all the classes are so good. You think you know what you're gonna play, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, this class kind of seems pretty fucking cool, you know, and that's just the way it is. For those of you who've already played, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So, this is what the Korean players have to think about these classes. This isn't a tier list. These are just opinions of, this is just the popular opinion from the Korean servers. All right, so let's kind of read this. Recently, one of the Korean Lost Ark streamer has asked users to vote for what you think is the most preferred class in a party. This could help someone if you are having some trouble picking characters, or just curious which classes are considered quote unquote popular. Note 1, this is not a ranking of the most popular classes. This is a rank of preference pick for party. So I think it's important to note that this is not a list. Well, there's a few different lists, but this is not a list of how many people are playing this class. Okay, there you could literally look up that information. I think there's another content creator. I can't remember the content creator's name, but I'm pretty sure he has like a list of the classes statistically that people are playing. So that's different. This is more of a mindset and opinion of what 17,000 people think. Okay, note number 2. Support classes such as Bard and Paladin are not included in this list. Obviously, they are the top picked classes. There is always at least one in the party. If this was a breakdown of people's opinions, and there were like 100, 200 people, I wouldn't even been sharing this. This is almost 20,000 people that have voted on this. So I think that's a pretty significant number, right? So, okay, preferred classes in parties. We have the Gun Lancer, number 1. We have the War Dancer, number 2. Lance Master, number 3. I think it's going to be called Glavier in our version. Destroyer, number 4. Gunslinger, number 5. Deathblade, Scouter, Scrapper, Artillerist, then Sork, then followed by Berserker, Deadeye, Reaper, Sharpshooter, Soulfist, Summoner, Arcana, Shadowhunter, and finally, my favorite fucking class, Striker. Okay, so let's read a little bit. Let's read a little bit more into this. Okay, so grouping them by users' interesting opinions. All right, so the next section here, grouping them by users' interesting opinion. Not really looking for them in a party, but I want to play. That went to Sork, Arcana, Deadeye, Striker. Okay, so this is like a separate list, right? The separate list. The top 4 classes that were chosen where the feel or the thought process was, hey, you know, I'm not really looking for them in a party, but it's a class that I personally want to play. Sork, Arcana, Deadeye, Striker. The next one is, this is a class that I don't really want to play myself, but I definitely want them in my party. Gunlancer, War Dancer, right? NA? Yeah. Scouter, Destroyer, Artillerist, and Scrapper. Interesting ring. Most likely to play with the enough resources. So what this means is if money wasn't an issue, I'd play these classes. Gunslinger, who happens to be the general consensus of it is that it is powerful with a high build and range. So I guess that means it's powerful with a, you know, well-invested build. I guess that type of situation, right? Sork, perhaps patches needed, incredible damage with high tier build, also great range. So with a high tier build, running the right build, running the right gear sets, end game, it's gonna have incredible damage. I think this is really useful information because with Sork being recently announced, I know for a fact that there just isn't that much information out there in regards to Sork. So I think these opinions are pretty valuable if you're thinking about playing Sorceress. Lancer, powerful yet balanced and stylish and stupid broken in PvP. Oh, that's sorry. I apologize. We're not talking about PvP here. Oh, it doesn't actually say that. Sorry, my bad. I guess I'm just thinking out aloud. Deathblade received very nice buff, very stylish, and controls are fun. Okay. Arcana mechanics are very unique and exciting for players. Controls are very fun. Very true. Deadeye, recent buff was very nice, and players find this class very stylish. Berserker, better controls mean better performance and badass too. I do want to mention one thing about Zerker. Recently, they changed one of Zerker's engravings, and if you don't know what engravings are essentially, you could think of them as a class spec, okay? Like, just if I'm just gonna be very general about it, like every class has two class engravings, that's what they call them, and you can think of it like this: World of Warcraft, a warrior, you could be a fury warrior or you could be an arms warrior, right? Like, they're both warriors, but they're different specs, and that's kind of how the class engravings work for this game as well. Each class has two different specs, and the Berserker got a very interesting, they got, well, actually Blade as well, but Berserker notably had a new class engraving, or it had a change to a previous class engraving that it had, which was really interesting. So if you are interested in playing Berserker, but you heard mixed things about Berserker and PvE, that new engraving is something to definitely check out because it looks super fun. Madness is what I'm talking about. Yes, it looks super fun. Gunlancer, also another reason why I want to make that another point, because if you did play Zerker and you felt like it was slow, you know, it's like, hey, you know, when I'm in my Zerker stance, it's really fun, feels fucking pog, but like when I'm out of my Zerker stance, it feels slow. That Madness engraving literally takes care of that. Anyways, we're moving on. Gunlancer, very tanky, great utilities, basically ignores most damages. Very true. Bard, great supports, and sexy. This one is ranged. I will say that it is true. I personally think Bard and Holy Knight have the best Founders Pack avatars. Platinum, that is. Then we got the Paladin, which is next. Great support stud. Tanky, this is melee. So I guess you can kind of see it like that. You know, melee range. Although, like, Paladin does have some range as well. But, yeah, two support classes. Sharpshooter, great recent buff. Very unique class. I'll agree with that. Soul Fist, clothes are pretty. One hit ultimate is very satisfying. Their one hit ultimate, by the way, I believe is the hardest hitting skill in the entire game. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below if it's not, but I'm pretty sure it is, assuming you're spec for it. War Dancer, aka Battle Master, surviving skills, tanky, party buffs. Striker, badass look, hitting motion, damages are nice. I will agree with this. One of the reasons why Striker is one of my favorite classes is because mechanically the feel of the actual class and the skills, it's really fun. Scouter, Iron Man, pretty much very efficient, consistent damage. Reaper, stylish and satisfying damage abilities. Destroyer, funny and enjoyable plays, slow but tanky. Summoner, safe damage dealer, buff was nice and character is pretty. Artillerist, range and easy to control, stylish skills. We got the Shadow Hunter, quick stylish transformations, consistent damages and counter skills. And last but not least, Scrapper, best balanced class in hitting motions are satisfying. So this is kind of an interesting list right here. These are the classes that people would play if they had enough gold and resources to pursue, right? Another interesting rank. I think this class is good. Supports are not included. Okay, Lancer, Scouter, which also happens to be the two best classes in PvP, by the way, if you give a shit. Gunslinger, Sorceress, Deathblade. I mean, is this a fucking PvP tier list, or what are we doing here? Gunlancer, Deadeye, Berserker, Sharpshooter, Shadow Hunter, War Dancer, Summoner, Arcana, Artillerist, Reaper, Scrapper, Destroyer, Striker. Oh, what do you know? Bottom of the fucking list again. Soulfist. Soulfist. Interesting. I think this class is good. Very interesting. I do wonder how close these rankings were, though, to each other. I would have liked to actually see numbers next to these, because like this list would be a little bit less significant if literally out of 18,000 people, all these classes were within like 100 votes, right? Wrapping this up, not popular but great classes. Shadow Hunter, Summoner. That's very interesting. I think this is something that a lot of people probably want to know. I'm really surprised that Summoner is not considered to be a popular class. Although we are not getting it for our release now, thanks to Sork. Not popular, but sort of wanted in parties. Scrapper, Blaster, Destroyer. Very interesting. Good classes and moderately prefer. Actually, before we go on, I honestly think, I could be wrong, but I think Scrapper is up there because of their ability to, like, one of the things that doesn't really get talked about too much is I think it's their impairment ability, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. It's their impairment ability in PvE, and for our launch there aren't that many classes that could do what they can in terms of impairment, and destruction. So that's something to know. Like, if you're thinking about going Scrapper, outside of just damage that you're providing and your team synergy buffs, that debuffs that you're providing for your party, that's another thing that Scrappers very much contribute to parties, because they are pretty damn good at impairment and destruction. If you don't know what impairment and destruction is, I'm not going to go into too much detail explaining this, but it's just a PvE mechanic. That, just think of it that way. It's a mechanic. It's just a PvE mechanic that's needed for, you know, the end game content and for bosses and fighting bosses, to like interrupt them or to get them out of certain phases, in or out of certain phases, something like. Just think of it that way, okay? And Scrapper's very good at that. Like Destroyer, very good at that, but classes like Destroyer, we're not getting at launch, right? Moving on, good classes and moderately preferred. Berserker, Deadeye, Sharpshooter. And now, as far as Zerker goes, this is something that I feel like is very true as well. Now, I never went out and asked 17,000 people, but I was considering playing Zerker myself, did some research in KR, got you know, a lot of opinions on it, and this is kind of the vibes that I got from my research with this class as well. You know, further kind of validating it for me personally, validating this entire list, really. Very consistent so far with everything that I've heard as well. Too popular for parties. Wow, this is definitely a good one to know. Lancer, interesting. Gunlancer, Gunslinger, and Scouter. Wow, okay, so, you know, a lot of Lancer, Gunslingers, and Scouters are going to be running around. Might not be able to find a party as easy as some other classes. Generally speaking, in this game, you don't want to be running with the same classes in the party that you're running, because you want different synergy skills. generally speaking. Not hugely popular for parties, but popular among players. Arcana, Soulfist, Striker, fucking fantastic. If you haven't guessed by now, Striker is kind of the front runner for me as far as like what I want to play. So there's that. Anyways, let's read this last note. Remember, the best class for you is the one you enjoy. Compare it to the other games. Lost Ark's character balance is very good, and it is. They're constantly balancing it. For example, Berserker, like the Madness engraving that I was talking about earlier. Nobody took that engraving. They realized that, and then they made a massive change to it, and now people are starting to, you know, mess around with it, right? Same thing with Blade. They buffed one of their engravings. So like, go for playstyle at the end of the day. Always go for playstyle. But still, this is good information to know. Yes, there are classes that can outperform others, but any classes can do still very well in any good parties. I personally just watch short gameplay and pick one I find it fun. Not really a type of person who likes to focus too much on people's recommendations for this game. So that is the author's personal opinions. So there's that. To kind of conclude this, guys, once again, I want to give a huge shout out and give all the credit to number one JK Man Dev on Reddit. Big shout out to you, bro. This was a fantastic post. Also, huge shout out to Jonnie World. If you guys haven't checked her out, definitely check her out. I'm gonna link this Reddit post as well as her YouTube channel and a link to the video in the description below. I just thought that this is obviously not my material, but this is something that I am pretty sure isn't being talked about or shared nearly as much as it should. So this is something that I personally found helpful, my chat found helpful, my guild found helpful, my community found helpful. I'm pretty sure that not a lot of you guys, or majority of you guys, or maybe even just a few of you guys haven't seen this, and it would help you guys make your decision on what class you'd like to play. Once again, if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below what class you are planning on playing, and if this list actually changed your mind with the class that you are planning on playing. I'm very curious as to whether or not this list has changed your mind on the class that you want to play for NA launch. I really am. But as far as this YouTube video goes, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.